All right, another week down in the books, which means we have the most anticipated earnings for May 11th coming up here this next upcoming week. Hope you're excited for them. We got a couple good ones on here. Not quite as star-studded as the previous ones, but we got some good ones here to look at. And I'll give you some insights on some of these companies, ones that I think you might want to look at. So Monday before open, we have Under Armour. I mean, we start off with one that's, I think, an interesting play. I wish I could tell you how this is going to look, because there's many things to think about. For one, you could think about how bad their supply chain's probably been hurt from this. If you think about where a lot of the production comes from, their supply chain probably was hurt really bad in quarter one. But we also think about a lack of sports. I mean, Under Armour might take a hit because of this. In my opinion, I think you'll probably see down numbers for Under Armour. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I believe you will see down numbers. Then we have Cliffs. After that, you've got Marriott. Marriott, one of the most popular hotels out there. Obviously, and nicer hotels, I should say. But this is a company that obviously you're expecting a horrible earnings report. I don't think it's going to be as bad as probably people might think. Again, a lot of this is going to be affecting these companies in their quarter two more than it is in terms of their quarter one. So their quarter one's going to be bad, but the quarter two should be even worse. So just anticipate it might not be as bad as you think, but quarter two is probably going to be worse for Marriott. They're going to be struggling for probably a good quarter two, and probably part of quarter three is going to get hurt a little bit too. But obviously these stocks have already been hit very hard. All of these leisure and hospitality stocks have been hit super hard as compared to the rest of the market. So some of it's partially priced in if you think about it. It all depends on if you're picking up a good company or not. So this is when it comes down to fundamentals. If you think the company's trading at a fair valuation, which obviously it's going to trade at a cheap valuation right now, just due to the fact that you're going to expect big EPS hits and big hits in revenue. So it's all entirely up to you, but Marriott, not one I have my eyes on personally, but the earnings will look interesting to me. It's one I want to look at as far as the earnings are concerned. We've got Callon Petroleum Company. Oil stocks, I don't mess with them really. Oil's been just a nightmare. Don't expect too much out of these oil stocks. It's not something I'd really get into because I don't really expect recovery in this sector for another 3 years at least. So oil's not really something I have in my portfolio right now. You've got Cosmos Energy. Then we have ON Semiconductor. ON Semiconductor is a kind of an interesting one. Semiconductors are obviously big right now, but you think about just the high demand right now for a lot of these semiconductor components. A lot more people buying computers, a lot more people buying, frankly, everything that they can, especially with the stimulus check and tax returns coming in. People are buying a lot of stuff. You could see a benefit for ON Semiconductors. I'm not too sure who their actually main revenue sources are from, because you look at a company like Skyworks or like Cirrus Logic, they get a lot of their revenue from Apple, and Apple's delaying the 5G iPhone. I don't know how ON Semiconductors relates to that, if they're more of a computer graphic chips kind of thing. I'd like to know, and I'll definitely do some research to find out. We have Cardinal Health. Nothing too exciting there. AutoNation, Golub Capital. Nothing crazy, I would say. After close, we have Inovio. Inovio is an interesting one for sure. One I'll be taking a look at. I don't have many good insights on it. Tilray, if Canopy's earnings really mean anything, just the expenses are going to be out of control with Tilray. And you're probably going to see a horrific quarter. And it probably will be. All things considered, it's going to be a horrific quarter. But how the market trades it entirely depends. You never know. A lot of these companies that just trade, they don't trade as you think they would respond to an earnings. The market's kind of rational in that way. So I can't tell you for sure on that. We've got Simon. Simon Properties is the biggest mall owner in the country, United States here, biggest mall owner. So quarter one's going to be horrible, as you might know. I mean, we can all expect that quarter two, it's going to be a hard one to judge because of the fact that a lot of these malls are actually opening up. But what does it look like on the other side of it? What does mall attendance look like? I'd like to know. There's some states that have opened up malls already, and I would like to see if they have any reports out there what attendance looks like. I know as far as any other things, I mean, we're talking about restaurants. We have people coming out in droves to go eat at restaurants. We got people. I mean, it's people are doing like everything right now. They want to do anything to get out of the house. So are malls going to see that benefit as well? Some people just want to go shopping, and they might go to the mall. We'll see. I'd like to know. I'll take a look at that. We have Datadog. That's right, data, not data. Energy Transfer. Logitech is one that actually is a surprising play for me. I think it's going to be an interesting one just due to the fact that if you look at something like HP's earnings, you see device revenue is up quite a bit. They're selling more in terms of computers, which means as a result, people are going to need more computer accessories. You think about Logitech, keyboards, mouses. So Logitech, I think, actually seeks to benefit pretty well from everything going on here. I'd like to look at this quarter. I think you'll probably get more of an effect in Q2 for this company, but it's going to be interesting to look at for sure. A lot of people are upgrading their home office, and Logitech might be part of it. You've got Novavax, GW Pharmaceuticals, Holozyme, and Cornerstone. Nothing too exciting for them, in my opinion, that I have to say. Tuesday, before open, you got Duke Energy. We've also got Honda. Honda, if it means anything to anyone, based off the earnings from Ford and GM, you're going to expect a not so superb quarter where costs are out of control, and probably a worse quarter too for them. But just be anticipating that. I don't know how the stock will trade because GM had, they posted a very bad year-over-year decline, but the stock had been hurt so hard that it actually went up after hours. So we'd like to see that. It's going to be interesting. There's Paladin, Macerich. That one I'm not sure on. That's an interesting one. It's one I'm not actually sure on. We've got Ingersoll Rand. Again, they're throwing some weird ones. We've got Radcom, Casper. Casper is actually an interesting play as well. I did want to mention that just due to the fact that people potentially are buying a lot more mattresses online. If you think about a company, let's talk about Serta for a second here. Serta shut down a lot of their plants, and I think Casper maybe could benefit from that. If they pick up some of the business on the online retail segment, Casper could do a really good job here. So I'd like to see what Casper does. They've been a kind of a piece of crap IPO, all things considered, but maybe they can turn things around with this momentum. I think they have a big opportunity ahead of them. You got Dynatrace, and that's right, another therapeutics company, which I don't know too much about. Again, I'm not too big into these biotechs, these small companies like that. I'm not a huge fan of those. I'm not super knowledgeable about them is really why. Not an industry that I know a lot about. Then we have Inspire MD, an interesting company. After close, you got Allegiant, 8x8 Incorporated, IsoRay, Infinera, SmartVest, Progeny. Again, these aren't ones that I really have that much knowledge on. I'm not super familiar with the companies. We've got the Container Store, one that I've looked into before. I don't have any of these around where I am. It's not a regional chain for me, so I'm not too familiar with those either. Varex Imaging, Houlihan Loki. Looks like a hotel company's logos, but I don't know the name. Again, there's a lot of strange ones here after close Tuesday that I'm not sure on. Then we have Rexnord. Not many that I know as far as this after close Tuesday, so definitely some research that needs to be done there for me. So I'll research. Wednesday before open, you've got CyberArk, Veru, TSL, which is going to be your tower company there. Sony, I think also could have a really good quarter. You're going to see a lot more purchases of televisions. I don't know why I said it like that, televisions. But yeah, I think Sony could have a really good quarter here. I think they seek to benefit because a lot of people are, again, it's tax return time. People are spending their tax return. They're buying lawn furniture. They're buying TVs. They're buying anything out of the sun. So Sony could really benefit from this. I'd like to take a look at those earnings. There's PGT, discount McDonald's logo that someone stole and should get sued for. Jumia, a logo I'm not too familiar with. Then we have Lincoln and Energy Focus. After close, we have Cisco, a stock that I hold. Very interesting to look at Cisco. They're a boring company, but I really like them, so I'll be taking a look at those earnings. You've got Smile Direct. If you don't know Smile Direct, it's kind of a company focused on kind of like the e-commerce version of dentistry, if that's fair to say. They seek to benefit a lot from this. A lot of dentist offices closed, stuff like that. Smile Direct actually seeks to benefit a lot from this. Most of the impact you probably see in Q2 for them, again, as I mentioned before, but Q1 definitely should see some strong notes, and you should see some good guidance for the following quarter, potentially. I think costs will be up pretty big, but Smile Direct could be an interesting one to look at. Jack in the Box, if anything means anything from McDonald's earnings, Jack in the Box probably is going to see a little bit of a decline in terms of revenue this quarter. Just anticipate that. Don't expect anything too out of the ordinary. If McDonald's saw around a 3% dip in terms of total traffic, Jack in the Box probably will see something similar as well. We've got Flower Foods, Revolve, which is, Revolve's one that's been hit super hard. It's been up pretty well since, but it's big e-commerce play for clothing, I should say. I meant to say clothing. I couldn't think of. It Revolve's a clothing company. It'll be interesting to look at how they perform. I'll be looking at it. It's a company that's been interesting to me, but I haven't gotten involved. I might if this thing dips down. It's a pretty interesting one to look at. We have Steris, Oceaneering. It's my favorite skill in RuneScape to level up. We've got Arcadia, Navigator Gas, and One Medical. Okay. Thursday before open, we've got Wix. Going to be an interesting one to look at for Wix. I don't have anything super informative on Wix, but it'll be interesting. Norwegian Cruise Lines, just expect garbage and expect bad guidance. So they're not going to give guidance, but just expect a very bad quarter for them. Really, I think earnings call can make or break that stock after hour, or really for that trading day. If the CEO sounds confident and in control, the thing will be up. If not, if there's any doubts from any investors, it's going to be a nightmare. Then we have Aurora. No, sorry, I'm skipping. Oh, sorry. First Majestic. Sapiens, Stratasys, Adaptimmune, another biotech company, NICE. Okay, baby. We've got Brookfield Asset Management. I own a Brookfield run asset, in case I was curious, but definitely interesting. Brookfield Renewable Energy Partners is the one I own, but definitely interesting to look at Brookfield there. Then Entercom. After close Thursday, we've Applied Materials, AMAT. Very, very interesting stock. I really like the company. Another one of your chip makers. I really like the company, but valuation's been a questionable one in the past, year. So I'd like to see Applied Materials go down a little bit, maybe. Maybe I could pick some up. So Aurora, another one of the cannabis plays. Woo, don't know on that one. I mean, however you'd like to think about that, go ahead and think about it. Again, it's going to be a bad quarter. I'll tell you that right now. We have Norton LifeLock. Again, it's this company that I think really should benefit from all of this. Norton goes ahead and, talk about computer security. Norton's where it's at. I have a Norton VPN. That's how I use my VPN is through Norton. So, very interesting. Norton should have a really good quarter, all things considered, and should post some good guidance because everyone upping their office. They're also upping their computer security because maybe they didn't need it before. Now that they're doing company meetings over their personal equipment, they're going to want some Norton antivirus, Norton, VPN. Come on now. We've got Farfetch, kind of a boring Pokemon, but SSR Mining, uh, Petrobras. It's like these are women's brassieres made out of gasoline. Not true, but New Relic, Village Farms, Globant, and that's right, everyone's favorite breakfast place, Denny's. Is that anyone's favorite breakfast place? I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I haven't been to a breakfast place in my life, I don't think, because I don't eat breakfast, and especially I'm not going to go out and eat breakfast. Friday before open, you have JD. Very interesting one to look at again. We talk about e-commerce benefiting. JD should have a good quarter. PBF. DraftKings is one that should be horrible, by the way. I'll tell you that right now. This quarter for them should be fine. I mean, we're talking about they had the Super Bowl during this quarter and a lot of live sports. Right now, there's no sports. DraftKings is hurting. So quarter two for this company, DraftKings, is going to be horrible. This quarter might not be bad, but investors still might sell out just because of the fact that, well, live sports might not return until, late June, early July. So we'll see on that one. It means they're pretty much going to have a whole quarter invalidated, just entirely invalidated, just gone out the wayside in terms of revenue for the most part. You got a VF, Qtech, IMV, and PLX Pharma Incorporated. And don't forget Biopath and Equinox Gold. So that's really all we got for this week. Nothing crazy. The ones I would look at are going to be JD, Norton, Smile Direct, Wix.com I'd take a look at as well. Sony. Definitely go ahead and take a look here at Logitech. I think Logitech will be a very interesting play. And I think that's really all I really want to look at for this week. Simon Properties as well is just one I'm going to be interested in just for the sake of being interested. So that's what I got for you today.